Hello everyone, this is Mika of Subconscious Arts, and I am coming to you with a do-over of the Tarot 101 book video. I am doing the video over because obviously, if you are watching this, it is in HD, which my laptop is not. I'm still working on a new laptop. When that happens, you will definitely be able to tell. But for now, I am recording on my Android, so you can see all these glorious books in HD. And to get started, the first book I'm going to introduce. There are some books I did not include in the previous video that I'm going to include now. One of those is The Easiest Way to Learn Tarot Ever by Dusty White. Now, I have not heard a bad review about this book. The reason why I say that is because the only people who complain about this book are the people who did not want to do the work that is in this book. And as you can see, there are a lot of exercises in this book. This book gets you working with the tarot immediately. Upon opening the book, there are exercises for you to do. It's very to the point. There's practically no filler. Now, it does get into astrology and some numerology, but for the most part it is strictly about getting into the cards and getting you reading and interpreting. Now, like I said, the only problem you would have with this book is if you don't want to do exercises. And I encourage new people to do exercises, because that is how you apply your information. It's also how, my neighbors are so loud, it is also how you get used to reading with and handling your cards. You can go strictly by intuition, but it definitely helps to have a guide. This is one of them. The next book is Around the Tarot in 78 Days by Katz and Tali Goodwin. Now, I've had this book for a couple of years. This is a great reference book. There are a lot of spreads and exercises in here you can do. This is not a book to read from front to back. It is primarily a reference book. There's a lot of useful information in this book. And one thing I do like about this book is that it covers some context in which the cards can be read. Health-wise, relationships, education, spiritual awareness, that sort of thing. Let's get the table of contents here. It does not really get into astrology or numerology. It's like the previous book, it's about the cards. It gives those associations with each card, but it does not go into detail. It's primarily about getting into the layers of each card. Still a great reference book. I know some people think they're like the corporate overlords come to take over tarot as we know it, like I said in the last video, but one must realize that there are individuals who decide that they have found something in this work called divination, and they decide that they want to share that something. That is what they did. They are not out to take over Llewellyn. Llewellyn has been in business for a very long time, no matter how popular a certain author is. And if you are familiar with certain Wiccan or pagan authors, you know exactly who I am talking about. Llewellyn is still standing, even though they have not published books in a very long time. Now, next book is 21 Ways to Read a Tarot Card by Mary K. Greer. She is one of my favorite authors on the subject, and this book does exactly what it says it does on the cover. It gives you 21 ways to read a tarot card. It gets into numerology, color, elements, dignity, and theme, which also ties into elements. But the book talks about that. It also gets into myths, and archetypes, if you're familiar with Joseph Campbell and his hero's journey. This book does touch on that. The book by Kim Huggins, Tarot 101, also gets into Joseph Campbell, but that is another subject for another time. This book gets you into the various layers that can be found in a card. So if you're only used to pulling back one or two, you've got about 19 more waiting for you in this book. This is great for beginners who want to go beyond what they've already learned. This is a great, like, if your first book was Learning the Tarot by Joan Bunning, this is like the second book you should get as a beginner. The next book is Tarot Spreads by Barbara Moore. This is one of my favorite books, one of my favorite recent books, and I've been through this book a lot. This book teaches you how to build your own spreads. It also teaches you how spreads work. Well, one way how spreads work. It goes into tying the cards together, especially how the cards relate to one another in a spread. Cards do not stand alone in a spread. They are not trapped or limited to their positions in a spread. The cards still interact with each other, and that will be a lesson I intend to give in the near future. So if you would like to participate in a lesson regarding that, please leave feedback, comments, whatever, in the description box, and we can possibly arrange some kind of Google Hangout, or you can take a private lesson with me. Let me know your thoughts. But this is a great book if you want to get into tarot spreads, how they work, how to use them. She even offers some spreads for you to play with in here. 3-card spreads, 5-card spreads, how to rearrange the cards in a spread so that they flow differently. And there is a flow of energy in spreads, by the way. Great book. Highly recommended. The next book is The New Tarot Handbook by Rachel Pollack. This book is focused on the Rider-Waite-Smith, but the information here can be applied to any tarot deck, in my opinion. You will get more into the Kabbalah, which is in every deck pretty much, except for it's not blatant like it would be in any Thoth or Golden Dawn themed decks, in Rider-Waite-Smith based decks, in any non-Rider-Waite, non-Golden Dawn or Thoth decks. The Kabbalic symbolism is still there. It's a matter of being able to suss it out, and this book definitely helps you understand that within each card. There's also some spreads in here, and she gets into the history of the tarot. This book can also help you pull together your own definitions and interpretations of each card. The last two books I've had for a long time. One is Tarot Spells by Janina Renee. I actually had to replace my copy. I lost my original copy, which was a white cover. This appears to be an older version of the book. This book does not teach you how to use the tarot. This book is a book of spells, like it says, that help you use the tarot as a tool for manifestation. For whatever situation. Money, success. There's something in here for interviews, grieving, family relations, peace, and so on. This is a book of spells that uses the tarot as a component for your spell work. It's still a great book. And the last book is Tarot for Yourself by Mary K. Greer. I've had this book for a very long time, since 2002. I continue to get a lot of use out of it. This is also a workbook, much like Easiest Way to Learn Tarot Ever. This book teaches you how to get into the tarot intuitively. She gets into shadow teacher cards, your year card, how to use the tarot to plot your years in your life. In the astrology and numerology, Kabbalah, spreads. This book has it all. And she comes from an intuitive place with the information here. This is an excellent book. I've written in this book. I've carried this book nonstop. I've read it about a dozen times, and I am reading it again because I find the information in it so valuable. And I lied, I actually have two more books. Recent acquisition, Holistic Tarot by Benebell. This book is freaking huge. Look at how thick this is. This is thicker than my local Yellow Pages. If I really wanted to throw this book at someone, I could. That's how heavy this thing is. But I'm not going to do that. I have been through this book, as you can see by the ridges in the spine. I've torn this book apart. There is so much information in here. It's almost obscene, in a good way. She gets into astrology, numerology, color, elements, she takes apart the court cards, she gets into the spreads. There is even dealing with clients, different types of questions, professional, building yourself as a professional reader to take payment from other people, to take clients. She touches on everything in this book, and you can see by my highlighting job, there is a lot to get from this book. Outstanding, this book. Okay, one last book. Tarot, The Open Reading by Yoav Ben-Dov. Do not be fooled. This book focuses on the Tarot de Marseille, but this book takes a visual approach. Yoav's approach is more aesthetic and sensory than getting into correspondences and correspondences and associations and such. It's perfect for beginners. And I say that because, again, it is not heavy with a lot of correspondences and information. It's all about getting into the cards themselves. It talks about the way the cards are facing, especially if you're using reversals. If you're a reversal reader, it gets into the directions the face cards, the cards with faces, are looking, and the significance of that, the overall energy of the cards, how the proportions of the imagery in the cards, like where in the image is it weighted, and where that weight is has significance in the reading. He gets into all of that. And like I said, though the book's focus is Tarot de Marseille, you can use this book with any deck, because every deck out on the market right now comes from this, including the Rider-Waite. Excellent book. I am reading it again. I've read it twice. And those are all the books I have for you right now. I have plenty more books on my shelf. This is not my bookshelf. My bookshelf is elsewhere. And I have plenty more books that get more specific about Kabbalah, astrology, how to use tarot for writing. I have the companion book to Easiest Way to Learn Tarot Ever. I have more by Mary K. Greer and Rachel Pollack that I would like to share in the future, but for now, these are the main books I recommend for beginners. I'm going to post this again on the website, obviously, because there are a few more books added to the list. I'll also include those books in the description box. You can purchase all of these books on Amazon, or at your Barnes & Noble, or any metaphysical, new agey type of store in your area that carries tarot books. If they don't have them on a shelf, ask them to order it for you. And they will. Even Barnes & Noble will order it for you if you ask them. But if you cannot get to a store in your area, Amazon. Guaranteed. And that is all I have for you today in this regard. If you have any questions about any of these books, or just about tarot reading in general, leave them in the comment section below, and I'll answer them in video form or blog form. And if you would like a reading with me, feel free to visit the website and request one. I do email readings, I do Skype appointments. If you're in the NYC area, I'm willing to meet with you and give you a personal tarot reading one-on-one. I am also free to teach workshops and read at your next party, be it wedding, birthday, bar mitzvah, corporate events in particular. And that's all I've got. Again, any questions, comments, leave them below. And until next time, be well.